There's what I'm pointing you toward is realization. Realizing what we're talking about right now, not just talking about it. Okay? You come to satsang for understanding. You come to satsang to ask me questions about your practice so that you can be clear about what you're at home practicing. Because the more clear you are about what you're practicing, the more fruitful your practice is going to be. In the beginning, when I was meditating, I wasn't really meditating. I was sitting there, I was relaxing, I was thinking. It was good for me from a relaxation point of view, but I really wasn't actively training my mind. I really wasn't actively training my attention. I had not yet realized that there was an awareness and an attention and the observed. And so you have to come and ask me questions about I was meditating and I couldn't figure out how to do this and this was happening or that was happening. Use me. Use me. Don't fumble through this. I studied a lot of very complicated things for a very long time to be able to explain this to you in a simple way as possible that you can understand. It's not complicated, but it's not easy either for a human being who has all of this momentum of being unconscious, living in past and future, and living in the mind-identified state. And so, you have to practice. I cannot stress that enough. That practice is where the realization happens. And speaking of practice, we have to get to our meditation. Does anybody have any last comments or anything?
I thought we've talked about the fact that there isn't really a bad meditation.
What do you mean? Give me a little context. Where did I say there was a bad meditation here?
Well, I guess not maybe bad or good is the incorrect word, but that if when you were first starting your meditation practice that you weren't really meditating, is I believe what you just said.
Yeah. When I say, give me a second. When I say that there's not a bad or a good meditation, what I'm responding to is that students will often come to me and say, man, I had such a terrible meditation. My mind was all over the place. I couldn't shut it up. I couldn't get my attention in the moment. That's not a bad meditation. In meditation, we're just observing what's going on in our mind. And if our mind is very active and very disturbed and disruptive, then that's just how our mind is in that moment, and that's neither good nor bad. You see what I'm saying? So when I say that there's not a good meditation or a bad meditation, if you sit down in meditation and in 20 seconds you are completely present in the moment, your mind is quiet, and you sit there for 20, 30 minutes just breathing, being present, that's not a good meditation. That's just where your mind was in that meditation. So when I'm saying there's not a good meditation or a bad meditation, that's what I'm pointing to. When I'm pointing out that there are certain ways that people meditate, that some are either fruitful and some are not fruitful. You know what I mean? And ultimately, if you are using, like guided meditations that are pulling you out of the moment, but they're relaxing you and that's where you are, and you feel like that's useful to you, that's helping you calm down and be more centered and more grounded, then do that. You know what I mean? Like, be your own guru. But ultimately, you know what I mean? You want to move beyond that and really be able to sit in the silence in your mind. You know what I mean? And so those things can be useful in the same way that mantra can be useful. If you're reciting mantra over and over and over and over, you know what I mean? Like, it drowns all that other stuff out. That may be what you need. Now, here's another issue. That a lot of times, you hear me say often in here that we're different people when we're in pain. Oftentimes, students, particularly newer students, people new to meditation, when they try to meditate, what happens is their pain starts to come up. Why? Because you're starting to be very present. And when you're present to everything. It's Pandora's box. Okay? And so if there is pain there that your very hyperactive mind has been staying hyperactive to push down, the moment that mind stops being hyperactive, that pain wants to express itself. And so sometimes people can get very uncomfortable in meditation. So you have to kind of learn how to let the lid off that kind of slowly and gently become present to your pain and process your pain. That could be one of the most major obstacles to really sitting and being able to be in a deep meditation, is that when you slow your mind down, your emotional pain comes screaming up. Yes, but the difficulty for people is that some people's pain is really deep and really palpable, and it becomes so uncomfortable for them that they can't stand it, and so it's a you have to sort of gently do that. And sometimes, if the pain is so palpable, we have to do some cognitive work to understand what that pain is about, and we have to bring the light of our consciousness to that which is unconscious, in order to process it. You know what I mean? In other words, sometimes it's hard to let go of I don't know, And so, you bring that, we want to make conscious that which is unconscious in that moment, you see?